Today we'll be watching a completely random Champion 2 match that I have never seen before to point out mistakes and areas of improvement that you can implement into your own games in order to rank up. Let's get right into it. So he's just doing a diagonal flip here and not an actual speed flip. I highly recommend at champion level to learn the speed flip kickoff. If you currently don't know how to do the speed flip kickoff, I have an entire tutorial video dedicated to teaching you that. There'll be a link below. I definitely recommend checking it out. So after the kickoff here, you'll see that he jumps towards this boost. However, it's pretty obvious that the opponent heart lob is going to take it and easily beat him to it. So instead, he could take these small pads and rotate behind his teammate. This choice to flip towards the mid boost doesn't really accomplish anything, so it would be much better, quicker, more effective to just rotate back straight away if you recognize that the opponent is going to beat you to the mid boost. Here he's going for an air dribble. Some players at champion will be relatively strong with their air dribbles. However, unless you are actively practicing them a lot, I would try and avoid air dribbles at all costs. The reason is, when you lose control of the ball, most of the time it ends up being a perfect pass to the opposition. Also, your recovery is generally quite slow. I can guarantee that your ground dribbles are better than your air dribbles, so go for the ground dribble. He went for an air dribble. Opponents got possession, they score. That's a perfect demonstration of why I try to avoid air dribbling whenever possible. As he's rotating back, the opponent heart lob actually bumps him. He wouldn't have got back anyway, but always try and keep an eye out for when you can get effective bumps and demos, especially when the opponent's moving slowly, low on boost. It's very difficult for them to avoid the bump sometimes. Try and bump the opponent whenever possible. Not only will it put them out of the play if you're successfully doing it, it may also trigger some people, in which case it helps you even more. I'm not too sure why he's driving up the wall here. What you need to do is pay attention to how your opponent's car is positioned. Look at where Stone is right now. If we take a look from Stone's perspective, this is what he sees right now. This is where the ball is relative to him. Out of all the options Stone has, how likely is it that he's about to hit it to the left up the wall? I would say very, very slim. Blue's players are now on the left-hand side driving up the wall and in the back right corner grabbing boosts. If Stone managed to get a really strong shot on net, it may go in straight away. Driving up the wall here is just taking yourself entirely out of the play. You'll be absolutely useless if Stone puts a shot on net right now. Consider the body language of your opponent's car and use that as an indicator of where you should be positioning yourself. So after he drives up the wall, he then rushes in for this challenge, but is far too slow to jump and goes way too low. There's no need for him to commit to this challenge. The opponent is right in front of their own goal. His teammate is behind him. You definitely want to keep the pressure up. There's no point in just giving your opponent free space, but there's no need to commit to the flip here. Stone is not doing anything threatening whatsoever. He doesn't even have control of the ball yet, really. So go in for a fake challenge, force the opponent to make a move. Your teammate's behind you, completely fine. Then just rotate out, repeat. Here, he goes for the challenge. He misreads the bounce of the ball and I guess how quickly Stone can get to it as well. And now he's taken himself completely out of the play and Stone's in a one-on-one. Make sure every challenge you go for has a purpose. Don't just lunge at the ball for no reason. As he's rotating back, there's no real need for him to go for the corner boost if he picked up these small pads as he just rotates around to be at the in net. He would have, 80-90 boost. Instead, he decides to drive all the way over here. It's not a big deal because his opponents weren't too quick to challenge, so he had a few extra seconds, but then he obviously missed the boost. you really have to try and pay attention when you're collecting boost. Players at all ranks miss the boost. I was watching a replay the other day of slykAU, one of the best players in the world, and I saw him do this. I think it's just hilarious. It does happen at every rank, but obviously you want to try and minimize it as much as possible. Just pay attention, take your eye off the ball for just a moment as you're about to drive over that pad so you don't miss it. His teammate goes for a shot off the ceiling. Again, that's a similar thing to the air dribble that I mentioned before. It's a high risk play. Most players are not that consistent at it, so I try and avoid it for the most part. Here he goes for a double touch, which is completely fine. I actually highly recommend you practicing your double touches at this rank a lot. They're super effective and they're much easier to get consistent at compared to air dribbles, flip resets, those sorts of things. Unfortunately, on his second touch, he hits it right into the opponent. That's just a matter of practice. On the screen now is a great training pack code for double touches. The ball is rolling up the wall. He has space. The opponent is not pressuring him immediately. The other opponent is all the way in your back corner, so he's completely out of the play for at least like 5 seconds. So Draco here decides to just smack the ball off the wall, and Stone just beats him to the next touch. Instead, he could do a weak touch off the wall like this, and then just go for a dribble. He's in a one-on-one, great scoring chances. Don't be afraid to slow down the play. If you have time to take control of it and make yourself more comfortable with it, let the ball roll down off the wall or tap it down, go for a dribble, you'll have a much higher chance of converting the goal. Oh no. After he does this touch off the wall, right now, so he turns the ball cam off. He can see that front right corner. There is no boost there. Just turn to the left straight away. Collect those small pads as you rotate out. Let your teammate go for the next touch. And that's a perfect way to follow up the play. Instead, he continues to drive towards the corner boost that's not there. Then he rotates around under the ball and bumps his teammate who had possession. Do they get scored on by it? And they get scored on by it. Try not to rotate under the ball whenever possible. It makes it really awkward for your teammate. They don't know whether you're going to cut. You might get in their way of them trying to hit the ball. You aren't in any position to defend effectively if the opponents beat your teammate to the ball. You aren't able to collect boost easily because as you're rotating back, if your teammate is coming up the field, you want to leave that middle big boost for them because they're the one who needs the boost. They're about to do an offensive play. You should just be collecting the small pads down the middle of the field as you rotate back. So here, as he's driving back towards the goal, he just does this weird flip. He loses all his momentum. Try not to flip unnecessarily. It's something that I do as well currently, which I'm trying to work on. In this situation, he didn't manage to land smoothly, which makes it even worse. There's no need to rush and flip straight into the wall if it's not going to do anything. As he's driving up the field, you'll see that he's only managed to pick up 2 small pads. Then he uses those small pads, drives straight into the corner for the big boost, then drives across the field. He doesn't go for a demo on the opponents or anything like that. And then he ends up in this position. So imagine he had just picked up those small pads as he drove up. He could have been in this position like a couple seconds earlier and beat the opponent to the ball here as his teammate gets a demo. Instead, he's taken himself way out of the play by driving into the opponent's corner. If his teammate had lost control or the opponents had challenged in a different way or earlier, he could have been in the opponent's corner, just leaving them a completely open net. Try to avoid driving into your opponent's corner just to grab boost, unless it's as you're rotating out of the play, not driving up the field. So those touches were fine, but then he decides to go off the ceiling. Again, he doesn't look very confident off the ceiling, so I would avoid that. Then he loses control of the ball and misses the flick. I can't emphasize enough how much you should be practicing your dribbling and flicks just in free play or in custom training. I don't care what rank you are, how good you think you are at either of those things, do it more. So his teammate gets bumped, then he does a poor challenge on the ball and leaves an open net. Is this really Champion 2? Oh my god, what is going on? So after that absolute chaos, some of you may be questioning whether or not this is actual Champion 2 gameplay. And on the videos that I've done like this in the past, I often get comments like, there's no way this is Diamond or this is Platinum. This is the Rocket League tracker page of the player that we are spectating, so I can confirm that he is, in fact, as you can see right here, currently Champion 2 Division 3 in doubles. Last season, he was also Champion 2 Division 3 with a total of 350 matches played, so he's definitely a Champion 2. Here he's rotating back post. He's picking up a few small pads here, which is great. He does this really weird touch to the side. So one really important thing that you need to remember is that it takes a lot of boost to change the direction that your car is traveling if you have a lot of momentum in one direction as you leave the ground. You need to try and align yourself with the ball's trajectory before you jump, because as you can see here, he hasn't predicted well how far the ball is going to come out from the wall. You can see this is where he's hit the ball, but it would be much better if he had hit it here, and then he would also have momentum in that direction. He could follow it up. It could be a pass depending on the direction that his teammate drives. Before leaving the ground for an aerial, just spend a fraction of a second aligning yourself a little bit better. It'll help out a lot. What I would do in this situation, he had no boost, is either just try and put as strong of a shot on net as possible, or I would try and hit the ball in any direction that there's a boost route to follow. For example, down here where he could then drive, pick up these small pads, he could hit it more to the right and aim for that middle big boost pad. Instead, he hits it in the middle and just completely hands over possession. It is difficult when you're on low boost, but try and make the most out of every touch that you get and think about how you can pick up boost on your way to the next touch or to keep yourself in the play. I highly recommend against going for challenges like this off the wall. You can speed up quite quickly on the wall, so even if it looks like you're going to beat or meet an opponent at the ball, they'll very often beat you. But even more importantly than that is the recovery time. If you do some flip off the wall or the opponent bumps you, you can end up God knows where for ages, just leaving your teammate in a 1v2. If you want to drive up the wall to pressure your opponent to make a touch, that's okay. As soon as you get relatively close, drive straight back down and rotate back. Never do this. This first touch here was fine. It was quite difficult for him to get a pass out to the mid, so as long as he got it over the opponent and didn't allow the opponent to get a strong clear or hand over possession, that was really the best play he could hope to make. So he did a good job with that. He then drives across, grabs this boost. If he's really quick, he'll be able to hit the ball up for maybe off the backboard, try and go for a double touch, or he could just bop the ball so it goes high and middle for his teammate. He tries to go for possession of the ball by driving up the wall and then around, but it's often hard to read where the ball's going, and a lot of people don't have great car control on the wall curve, like the bottom of the wall. Instead of letting his teammate who has boost is facing the ball, he makes it really, really awkward, and then ultimately the opponent gets possession of it. So it went from a really good opportunity to a wasted couple of seconds handing over possession. If you're unable to get a strong touch on the ball as you're coming from the opponent's net, just rotate out of the play, let your teammate who's facing the ball go for the next touch. It was good there for him to challenge that because he wouldn't have been able to get back in time if the shot was on target, I don't think, so that was smart. Do not do this. The chance of a player scoring from this position, even at a high rank, is very low. No momentum. traveling the opposite direction. Both players are in net. Just do a back pass. Play the ball back to your own side, to your teammate, who will then be able to start the next play, who has lots of boost. Instead, he does this really weird touch, sets it up for the opponents, and delays his rotation time. Good speed from Draco there. And that's a goal. So as he's rotating back here, he doesn't pick up a single small pad. Then he goes into the corner to pick up this big boost pad. The same corner that his teammate is already in. They really should have got scored on here, but they got a bit lucky. Stone missed that touch. Make sure you're picking up those small pads down the center of the field. Rotate towards the back post so that you're facing the play. Don't drive into the same corner that your teammate's already in. Here his teammate gets a nice pass and Draco puts in the top corner. Nice shot there. Another thing to remember is that momentum is extremely important. You want to try and preserve momentum. Here he does like a 3-point turn. Make sure you're making use of power slide to turn around quicker and maintain that momentum. So I don't know why he's decided to slow down here. It looks like he has a great opportunity here. His opponents are low on boost. One of them is facing backwards. Most players, backwards car control at this rank is nothing exceptional. He has 80 boost here. He can rush in for a shot, pass it mid, hit it off the backboard, anything he wants. Instead, he decides to just sit still and give the opponent time to recover, decide what they want to do. Keep that pressure on. Go straight for the ball. If you're in a better spot to hit it than they are, go for it. Your teammate's in a great spot to cover for you, even if you miss. So if you identify that the opponent's in an awkward spot and you can beat them to the ball, go for it right away. And that 50-50 results in his teammate getting dribbled and them conceding. Good reactions from his teammate there. This was a really good start to this play. Instead of just hitting it away, he takes a softer first touch, looks like he's going to go for a dribble, keeps possession of it. Then his second touch though is much stronger, and then he decides to take it up the wall and go for a ceiling shot. You have 20 seconds left and you could have had a one-on-one dribble again. The fact that he's giving that up for a ceiling shot attempt when he's already shown that even in this very game, all of his mechanical plays have not been successful. So I wouldn't bank on that to try and score a crucial goal with the last seconds of the game. Here, I'm not really sure what he's attempting to do. Even if he beats the opponent there, he obviously can't do anything with it. Even when you're in this critical position with only a couple seconds left. Okay, the ball's up in the air now. He decides to turn right underneath the ball. If he drove a bit to the right, did a 180, now he's facing the goal. Even when you're in the position of being on 0 seconds, there's no point doing a useless touch that has no chance whatsoever of scoring. Try and be smart. It's really difficult when you're under pressure like this, but it's the only way you have any chance of scoring. If you would like me to take a look at one of your match replays, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'll look at your strengths, your weaknesses, and areas for improvement, provide training packs and ways to practice. A number of people have already signed up to the page. I've had great feedback from it, and it's a really fun experience. So if you're interested, check out the link below, and I'll talk to you soon.